Everyone usually says no, and she's asked several people who she won't call out, but they've all just said no, and she doesn't know why. She just thinks no one likes her. She did, however, get John Legend to say yes, and they have a duet together on her new album.
People don't want to record with Kelly Clarkson.
Which I find so strange. The only reason I can think of is
What do you
because
think?
she's such a good vocalist.
Yeah.
She's so good. Maybe people just don't want to have to compare. Yeah. That's the only reason I can think.
Or maybe they're just busy or something. I feel bad for her that she thinks they don't like her.
Yeah.
There are legit reasons out there, I'm sure.
She's incredibly talented. I couldn't understand why somebody wouldn't want to perform with her. And I do get what Jill's saying when you listen to just Kelly's voice.
342. Free inspection not applicable for...
She's good. She's so great.
I'll do it. I can sing along to this.
Hey, Kelly, we found somebody to record with you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. If you're a fan of the TV show Friends, it's kind of hard to imagine anyone else besides Matthew Perry playing Chandler. Well, it almost happened. Matthew was supposed to be in a show called LAX 2194 at the same time Friends was starting, and the show was about baggage handlers at the airport in the year 2194 sorting through aliens' luggage. And he said that Fox eventually realized that this show would probably go nowhere. They canceled it, and then Matthew Perry was able to be Chandler on Friends. So thank God that show was canceled, because we wouldn't have had him as Chandler.
Hey, Kev, you want it one time?
Hey, you want me to sing along? Audition for Kelly? I'll be there.
Don't you hate when people do that? Somebody pulls down the music the last second when you're still singing.
Hate that.
So rude. People do it to you in the car all the time when you carpool. You're singing along and they turn down the music.
You can put
the darn controls on the steering wheel, and that's what Tank did.
I'm Jill, your Hot Hollywood
I
Gossip.
said, give me a call one more time.
Give me a call, Kelly.
All right, thanks, bud.
Hope you're well. And I am. Seems like all you do is promote Geico's web and app abilities. And while I really enjoyed your last commercial where you talked about how I could take a photo of my VIN number and add it to my account all via my Geico app, I've got to think it doesn't leave you much time for anything else. Do tell. Sincerely, Miranda Morgan. Well, Miranda, thank you for asking. And this Geico spokespig does have time to do other things. For instance, I do love
VIN scanning to add a car. Just a tap away on the Geico app. KNX's time 8:55. Traffic and weather together on the 5s. Let's take a look at what is happening right now. Here's Jen.
All right, northbound side of the 110, just before the 10 west, we've got a stall. Actually, it looks like it's a two-car crash blocking the middle lane there. Also, a couple things for the 210. 210 eastbound at Seco, we've got a three-car crash blocking the middle lane. It's coming down from the Lakeview Terrace area. And then on the west 210 at the 134, that's right in the heart of Pasadena there. We've got a rig versus two other cars blocking the middle lanes. That's the 210 westbound as it becomes the 134. 45 southbound at Victory. They're just telling me there's a traffic hazard of some sort. We don't need that, do we, on top of everything else on that 405 south? But I can tell you, it starts to let up right around Victory. Well, let's call it Sherman Way. And it stays heavy then into the Sepulveda Pass. Looks like Topanga is getting a little bit better. They must have gotten some traffic control out there. I can see that it's thinning out. So that's great news. Southbound side of Topanga. Right at School Road, that light has been flashing. I do believe there should be some traffic control out there now for you, and I'm looking at it, and it looks like it's definitely thinning out for you. And then once past School Road, it's a great drive out to PCH. PCH itself, southbound, looks good, a little bit of volume, but it still looks good heading into the McClure Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 5s. Our next report at 9:05 from your Southern California traffic leader, KNX 1070 and CBSLA.com.
So downtown later on today is going to be somewhere in the low 70s, according to our forecast from Evelyn Tapp today. The beach is probably in the mid-60s. Very similar tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, with the clouds and fog in the morning, and then moving to sunny skies later and temps into the 70s. Right now, LA's Civic Center has 59. Studio City has 57, and Culver City right now, it's 61 degrees. If you're searching for a washer or dryer repair, visit myapplianceservice.com.
Protected by nature, predictive by innovation. Lease the new 2015 Mercedes-Benz C300 for just $399 a month. It's got a new feeling of agility and a new air of authority. Visit your Southern California Mercedes-Benz dealer for a test drive today.
This portion of the news brought to you by Strategic Tax Lawyers.
The LAPD is looking into death threats against actor Terrence Howard, and his ex-wife is reportedly a prime suspect. Howard is a star star of the Fox TV show Empire. TMZ says police want to know if his ex-wife is behind a series of Instagram threats, including one that says, "I'm coming for you." His ex is the only one following the account. Howard says he's been getting the threats for a year. His ex-wife says she has talked to police and is no longer a suspect. Taylor Swift had some fun on Jimmy Fallon's show last night. Fallon showed some fake clips.
We're famous Jumbotron dancers.
Yeah, we used to go to the sporting events in New York and just give it our all.
Fans saw her and Jimmy tossing stadium snacks and breaking out in classic Jumbotron moves like the robot and the sprinkler. They even recreated the famous Flashdance bucket of water scene, which left Fallon drenched. Jerry Garcia will be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in June. The organization has announced that Linda Perry, country songwriter Bobby Braddock, and the Hoochie Coochie Man writer Willie Dixon will also be inducted. The Hall's 46th annual induction and awards dinner will take place in New York City. KNX News Time, 8:58.
Attention business owners and individuals with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe the IRS a small amount of money, you do not need to hire an attorney for help. You can call the IRS yourself and resolve your problem. But if you have a complex tax matter where you owe a large amount of taxes for personal or business, or have several years of unfiled tax returns and have received notices or even a visit from the IRS, you need to hire the absolute best. Call Strategic Tax Lawyers at 877-310-9800. Strategic Tax Lawyers is an experienced tax law firm headquartered in Santa Monica and run by a former IRS tax attorney. Don't get ripped off by tax relief companies that promise the world and deliver nothing. If a law firm can't help, they will at least point you in the right direction. Read their 5-star reviews at mytaxattorney.com. That's mytaxattorney.com. Or call 877-310-9800. 877-310-9800. This message has been brought to you by Attorney Jeffrey Jacobs.
KNX 1070 AM and HD, KAMP HD2 Los Angeles. KNX 1070 News Radio, broadcasting live from the Southern California BMW newsroom. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Find a dealer at SoCalBMW.com.
Top story now at 8:59.
Local Congresswoman Janet Hahn tells KNX why she's going to run for the LA County Board of Supervisors.
A 90-year-old water main break in Hollywood sends water cascading into apartments and parking lots, submerging cars. I'm Pete Demetrio.
I'm John Barrett in Venice. The homeless have their rights, but LA officials don't think they have the right to block sidewalks. They want the power to get rid of stuff within 24 hours.
There's a poll out this morning that says a lot of California voters will for the Senate next year.
And more talks are scheduled today between the two sides in the West Coast ports dispute.
With Vicki Moore, I'm Nick Hilton. Traffic and weather together on the 5s, and CBS News is coming up next.
All news, all the time. Southern California's only all-news radio station.
It's 9 o'clock.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. There's more snow in parts of Kentucky hit hard earlier this week by a storm that dumped around a foot in some places. Stephanie Stewart, an emergency official east of Lexington, says it's been a struggle.
The Bath County Search and Rescue and some of the fire departments have been out since Monday, pulling people out of ditches, delivering nurses to the nursing homes.
I'm Jim Crisula. Community spirit, neighbor helping neighbor, is alive and well in areas from Alabama to the Carolinas, still without power 2 days after a crippling snow and ice storm.
Everybody comes down with chainsaws and starts work. Everyone helps in, pitches in, we clear the road so people can get in and out. And it works out pretty good. You know, when you have to do it, you figure out a way pretty quick.
More snow is in the forecast, and a new Arctic front will bring in gusty winds which could knock down more ice-coated trees and power lines. Jim Crisula, CBS News, Greensboro, North Carolina.
In the upper Midwest, wind chills are 20 to 30 degrees below zero today. In Massachusetts, 74 roof collapses from all the heavy snow have been reported over the last 9 days. CBS's Jerika Duncan tells us.
The Boston Red Sox are offering free game tickets to anyone who digs out fire hydrants. The offer ends this afternoon.
The Red Sox home opener is less than 2 months away. A White House summit on extremism comes at a time when ISIS is strong overseas. Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson says officials have to work harder, closer to home.
Terrorist organizations, they have the ability to reach into our communities and attempt to recruit and inspire individuals who may turn toward violence.
Later today, President Obama will urge world leaders to combat the underlying ideologies that lead to extremism. A setback for Ukraine's government in the struggle with pro-Russian rebels. CBS's Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London.
Ukrainian government forces have pulled out of the crucial railway hub of Debaltseve, but there's been no corresponding withdrawal of pro-Russian separatist rebels as called for in last week's peace deal. They've hoisted their flag above the city and are taking remaining government soldiers captive. EU officials calling that a clear violation of the peace plan.
A night of celebration in China. Fireworks help ring in the new year there. There had been calls for people to refrain from setting off fireworks because of all the air pollution. A new report finds high medical expenses are the biggest financial worry when it comes to retirement in this country. Sheena Steiner of Bankrate.com says many of us are concerned we won't have enough in the bank when our working days are over.
Nearly half of people said that their day-to-day expenses or family obligations were keeping them from saving. But millennials were twice as likely to say that student loan debt is hampering their retirement savings.
Still, just 13% of people in the survey expect Social Security to account for all or most of their retirement income. Wall Street, the Dow is down 29 points. NASDAQ is down 2. This is CBS News.
Confirming she's running for Don Knabe's seat on the L.A. County Board of Supervisors.
A new poll puts a Republican at the top of the list to replace outgoing Senator Barbara Boxer.
Good morning. This is KNX 1070 News Radio. I'm Chris Seaton.
And I'm Linda Nunez. It's Wednesday, February 18th.
Here's what's happening at 9:03.
Janice Hahn is... She's giving up her seat in Congress to run for an open seat on the L.A. County Board of Supervisors.
I think this has been the worst kept secret for a long time, and I think anybody that knows me or knows of my family's legacy knows that, we are really about local government.
Hahn is hoping to replace Don Knabe, who's being termed out of office. Her father, Kenneth Hahn, served on the Board of Supervisors for 40 years, and her brother James served one term as mayor of Los Angeles.
New poll shows Democrats may not have a lock of the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Barbara Boxer. We talked this morning with Mark DiCamillo with the field poll. He says former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice seems intriguing.
About half of all voters, 49%, say they would be inclined to vote for her. That's even greater than 46% who say they would vote for Kamala Harris.
Now, Rice has indicated she's not interested in the job. She's the only Republican who rates highly the list of potential candidates.
Labor Secretary Tom Perez will be meeting with both sides today in an effort to end the labor dispute that has idled cargo at the L.A. and Long Beach ports. We talked live this morning with port industry expert Mark Levinson, who says the opening of the enlarged Panama Canal is a big elephant in the room.
There's a big fear that more cargo is going to go through the canal and directly to the Atlantic coast and the Gulf Coast rather than stopping off in L.A. and Long Beach and Tacoma.
20,000 members of the Longshoremen's and Warehouse Union have been working without a contract since July. Businesses are feeling the pinch from backed up goods. KNX News Time, 9:05.
Traffic and weather together on the 5. This report is sponsored by the Riverside County Transportation Commission's 91 project in Corona. Good morning, Tom Tran.
Good morning. We start off with a couple of problems. New one on the northbound side of the 605 at the 5. A two-car crash here blocking the number 3 lane. Jammed up from the 91. The southbound side, 605, slows from about Slauson and stays busy down towards the 5 itself. Going westbound, all 3 routes, none of them good. The 60, the 10, and the 210 all jammed up pretty solidly. The 60, we had a crash westbound just past Azusa Avenue, causing slowdowns from about Fairway Drive. It stays busy right into East LA. Same with the San Bernardino Freeway. That 10 westbound starts to slow at Via Verde, and it's nothing but bumpers all the way into East LA. And the 210 going westbound slows from the 57, actually on the ramp from the 57. Stays busy into Pasadena, the eastbound side of the 210, or southbound side, depending on how you want to look at it. There's a crash being reported as you head into the Altadena area. Just after, looks like Arroyo Boulevard, that's slowing down traffic a little bit, heading down towards Mountain. The 134 slows out of Glendale, busy basically from Pasadena over towards Burbank, and then clears up just to jam up again, heading into the Studio City area onto the 101. Traffic and weather together on the 5s. Our next report at 9:15 from your Southern California traffic leader, KNX 1070 and CBSLA.com.
I'm CBS 2 meteorologist Evelyn Taft, and this is your exclusive 5-day forecast. We're expecting temperatures to stay above average at least through Friday. We're also expecting overnight morning low clouds and fog to continue through the first part of the weekend. As we head toward the second part of the weekend to Sunday, we could see a slight chance of a shower, cooler temperatures all around, increasing cloud cover, breezy conditions, and then by next week, we're warming up and clearing out all over again. That's your 5-day forecast where the weekend's always in sight here at KNX 1070 News Radio.
Right now, we've got 54 degrees in Canoga Park, 55 degrees in Riverside, 53 this hour in Ontario, currently 61 degrees here at the CBS Broadcast Center on LA's Miracle Mile.
A 90-year-old water main erupts in Hollywood, sending flows down storm drains and flooding cars in nearby parking lots.
It took DWP crews almost 4 hours to close the valves to stop the water from flowing through the break at 1,000 gallons a minute. Austin Wood and his friends have looked into a back parking lot between two apartment buildings where 6 cars were submerged in up to 6 feet of water. The loss of their cars is just one of the things they're concerned about.
Each apartment complex has a storage unit, so there's 4 units down there, and we have a lot of things down there.
All those are underwater.
All those are underwater.
DWP officials say the break in the 90-year-old line undermined a sidewalk and may have undermined portions of Dick Street between Ivar and Cahuenga. They'll have to do a lot of digging to determine the full extent of the damage. In Hollywood, Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Tents on sidewalks, clothing, shopping carts for homeless people. It's their life. For LA officials, it's a mess and a nuisance. It makes it impossible to use some sidewalks.
There have been plenty of complaints about stuff blocking sidewalks. That's why LA officials are considering the new law. It would allow them to give people 24 hours notice instead of 72 hours before hauling that stuff away. Some people say, do it. You think the city should be able to haul it? They should. They should be able to haul it away? Yeah. Others say, give the homeless more time.
Keep it at 72. Just need a certain amount of time to find a new place to live and relocate their belongings to.
The officials say when the sidewalks are jammed, disabled people can't use them, and that's a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. In Venice, John Baird, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Breaking news now on KNX 1070 News Radio.
We are just getting a report of a second alarm fire at the ExxonMobil refinery in Torrance, possibly involving an explosion. The fire department and police are on the way. The police watch commander says they have no other details at this time. They are sending officers to evaluate the situation. Keep it right here on KNX 1070 for the very latest development.
Ed Mertz standing by with a check of our money news. That's coming up next. KNX News Time, 9:09.
Travel will be reduced to 1 lane on the eastbound 91 to southbound 15 connector for 3 months, starting February 17. For info, call 877-770-9191, 877-770-9191, or visit sr91project.info.
You know what? There is absolutely no reason. Don't spend another year being uncomfortable in your own home. You and your family should be warm in the winter and cool in the summer. The air you breathe in your home should be clean and fresh and safe. Home Comfort USA has a solution with 3 generations of local experience and a heart to serve. The guys at Home Comfort USA are the trusted experts at heating, air conditioning, and indoor air quality. So whether you need a simple repair or a whole new system, call the Comfort Guy. Home Comfort USA. Factory fresh tune-ups just $69. Home Comfort USA. New complete systems that fit any budget. Home Comfort USA. Wow. And now with 5 years no interest or payments starting at only $99 a month, there's no reason to wait. Call 888-287-8254. Call the Comfort Guy. We're there. 888-287-8254. CSOB number 974-908. Home Comfort USA.
12 years, thousands of laughs, one final goodbye. The only thing worse than you staying is you leaving.
The series finale of 2.5 Men, CDS Thursday.
KNX News Time 9:10. This portion of the news on KNX sponsored by Community Bank. Normally we'd be going to Ed Mertz with money news right now, but we're going to preempt money news this one time because we have more on the situation going on right now. There's a second alarm fire at the ExxonMobil refinery in Torrance, possibly involving an explosion. We're joined live now on the news line by listener Debbie Hernandez. She lives in the Torrance area. Debbie, what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
I work here in the Torrance area, and I'm standing out on one of our balconies. At the time, a big white plume of smoke went up. It felt like an earthquake. And then we looked out and saw the plume of smoke over at the mobile, and right now I'm looking at 2 of the stacks that are flaming. They're burning off.
About what time did this happen? Like minutes ago?
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes ago. because a bunch of people started looking. We went to the radio to hear about what magnitude of earthquake it might have been, and then we realized, based on the plume of smoke, that it wasn't. That it was an explosion over at ExxonMobil.
Mr. Hernandez, did you hear an explosion at all?
We didn't really hear it, but it had the same rumble as an earthquake, which is why we thought it was. It had that same rumbling noise and then the jolt. But we didn't hear an explosion.
Okay, you're saying you're seeing active flame right now? You're seeing
out of two of the towers that normally they use to burn off excess whatever.
Okay, have you seen any fire engines, firefighting equipment heading towards there?
Haven't seen or heard anything. I'm not hearing any engines. That's the reason we weren't sure that it was what it was, because we haven't seen or heard any emergency equipment at all.
And we're being told that the fire department is sending in teams right now, officers, to evaluate the situation. Once again, it's our breaking news, getting reports of what is being called a second alarm fire at the ExxonMobil refinery in Torrance, possibly involving an explosion. And joining us live on the news line right now is Debbie Hernandez, a listener who works in the Torrance area. Debbie, how far from the refinery would you be?
We're a couple of blocks. From our fourth-story balcony, I can see pretty much the whole complex over there.
I take it a lot of the surrounding businesses and residents in the area are probably outside looking right now as well?
There were for a little while, and everybody seems to have gone back in now. Again, not hearing any sirens, or we haven't gotten any of the warning sirens from Mobil to tell us that there is an issue there.
Is that something that typically happens, though? Like, if there is an issue, do you hear warning signs? Do the local businesses and the residents get notified in some way?
Yes. I know that the businesses do. They have a group over at Mobil that contacts local businesses and advises us of what the issue is. And if it's something really big, then there's an alarm system that goes off.
And again, so we have it right. You saw white plumes of smoke coming from the area. It felt like an earthquake, and you say now you can still see flames coming from, what, two towers?
Yeah, from two of their stacks. And they use those stacks every once in a while. They'll flame to burn off excess oil or fuel or whatever. But there's two stacks with really active flame, which is unusual.
Okay. Debbie, thank you so much. I'll get you to stay on the line and speak with our producer. Again, that's Debbie Hernandez, a listener here on KNX 1070 News Radio, joining us live on the news line. She works in the Torrance area. She told us she saw the smoke coming from the refinery area. She said it felt like an earthquake, and she immediately tuned into KNX to find out if, in fact, it was an earthquake and what the magnitude might have been, and then quickly found out that, in fact, it was this fire that has engulfed a portion of the ExxonMobil refinery in Torrance. And again, the fire department and police say they're on their way. The police watch commander telling KNX they have no other details at this time. They're sending officers in to evaluate the situation. We'll be staying on top of this, and stay with KNX 1070 News Radio for further developments. As we get them, we'll pass them on to you. Check out our Southern California freeways for traffic and weather together on the 5s is coming up next.
Community Bank understands you don't have to be a big business to have big goals. Small and medium-sized businesses have been part of Community Bank's client base since it opened as a small family-owned business in 1945. And thanks to these businesses, Community Bank has grown to nearly $3.4 billion in assets today. In addition to being a full-service business bank, Community Bank is a preferred SBA lender. Through its SBA 7A program, Community Bank is able to lend up to $5 million. Expansion and working capital, including up to 90% financing on owner-occupied real estate loans. Community Bank provides true partnership banking, and your personal SBA business development officer will walk you through every step. For an SBA lender you can count on to help you achieve your goals, call Community Bank at 800-788-9999. That's 800-788-9999. Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and an SBA preferred lender.
Hey, KNX listeners, here's a special offer from Laser Eye Center. Since there were so many listeners calling in asking about the Laser Eye Center, they have now announced an incredible special just for KNX listeners. Here's what they're offering right now. The first 10 KNX listeners to call now will receive $1,000 off all custom LASIK. That's right. The first 10 listeners to call in get $1,000 off. They have convenient locations throughout Southern California, and they are voted #1 best LASIK center 5 years in a row. Here's the number to get $1,000 off all custom LASIK. 844-88-LASIK. That's 844-885-2745. That's 844-885-2745. You'll get a free consultation with no pressure. They have 0 down interest, free financing for 36 months, and $1,000 off. Do what thousands of listeners have. Change your life and get LASIK now. Throw away those contacts and glasses. Call 844-885-2745.
Sorry, Chris. KNX News Time, 9:16.
So the freeways, now traffic and weather together on the 5, sponsored by the 2015 Los Angeles Boat Show. Here again, Tom Tran.
Got a new problem over on the westbound side of the 210, just east of Sierra Madre. 2 cars involved in a crash block in the number 1 lane, making things just awful from the 605. It's bumper to bumper. It starts to slow actually way back at the 57. Then it's kind of on and off until you get over towards the 605. Then it jams up solid. This may be one of those times you want to take Foothill Boulevard going westbound. Hop back onto the 210 over at San Gabriel Boulevard or Sierra Madre, and that'll get you back onto the freeway around those delays. They had a crash on the 210 going eastbound near Mountain through the Altadena area, heading into Pasadena. That is gone. The delay is still lingering, though. Once you get down past Orange Grove Boulevard, you should be clear jumping down the 210 going east. Also have a new crash being reported on the 405, this one northbound. We got reports that it was on the connector to the 105 going east. We're seeing some slowdowns there. We have another crash on the 405 northbound right around Venice Boulevard. That's jamming up traffic from the 105. It stays busy up towards the Santa Monica Freeway. Traffic and weather together on the 5s. Our next report at 9:25 from your Southern California traffic leader, KNX 1070 and CBSLA.com.
Our CBS 2 weather forecast for Southern California calls for sunny and warm weather today. Highs upper 60s, mid 70s. Tonight, mostly clear skies, low clouds and fog moving in overnight. Lows tonight in the mid 50s, and then tomorrow morning clouds and fog after they burn off, clearing to the beaches by the afternoon. Highs mid 60s to lower 70s. Right now, we've got 61 degrees here at the CBS Broadcast Center on LA's Miracle Mile, along with Linda Nunez. I'm Chris Sedens. We're following breaking news. The shower reports of a 2-alarm fire at the ExxonMobil refinery that's in Torrance, possibly involving an explosion there. Fire department and police are on their way. The police watch commander telling KNX they have no other details to pass on to us at this time. They're sending officers in to evaluate the situation. We spoke earlier with Debbie Hernandez, a listener who works in the Torrance area. Now joining us on the news line is Richard Hamang. Richard, I understand you live very close to the refinery just north?
Yes, sir. I'm like a half block north of the refinery where the fires, the flares are burning.
What are you seeing right now?
Right now, both of the flare stacks, which is where they dump off any volatile product to burn it off, are burning it at a high rate.
Understand that there's schools in this area as well. How close are these schools?
One is about 3 blocks north. It appears to be normal because I just drove by it. And then there are several south in the smoke field. There is some debris coming out of the sky that looks like fibers, but it's not burning. So kind of like ash fibers.
Are you seeing any fire department equipment on the scene? Are you hearing any sirens at all?
Yeah, Torrance has moved up to the refinery. Manhattan Beach has moved into Torrance for mutual aid. They have the area around the refinery closed off with the police on the crossroads. And there's a lot of fire units in the refinery right now.